York's classic rock, Q1043.
It's Rush and Limelight here at New York's Classic Rock, Q104.3. It's 7:05. And from our sister station in Los Angeles, KYSR, known as Alt 98.7, we have Woody and his colleagues from The Woody Show, which is on early in the morning in L.A., as well as in some other parts of the country, including Philadelphia.
That's why we're here so early.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's 4:05?
4:05, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And at your studios in Burbank. And I imagine that the crew there at iHeartRadio LA has just been spending time at the studios around the clock, conveying important information to everybody.
Well, not just that, there's been so many people that just work here in the building at our other stations, our sister stations here in LA, that, you know, lost homes and evacuations and everything else. So it's been quite a week.
Well, you have been part of probably the most important information providing system in Southern California right now, with cell service goes down all over the place and power outages, and yet people can rely on you for the information that they need. I mean, even the emergency alert systems in the area have gone crazy.
That was fun. So this is Gina Grad. She's on my show, and we have Greg Gorey.
Morning.
Right there is Menace. But last week, Gina, I think, had a heart attack.
Yeah, a couple times.
2 or 3 times.
I was almost out. I almost just started driving, and it happened multiple times. Didn't it, Greg, to you as well?
It
happened twice.
Erroneous alerts sent out.
Yeah, by mistake. They had some kid at the switch.
Yeah, actually, the kid that runs the system, he sounds about 14, but
like literally,
he said that he didn't even know why it happened. But
he kept saying it's software.
They're looking into it.
Those things freak people out when there's not even an emergency, like when there's nothing going on. But when there's all this stuff going on and fires are popping up because the winds are bringing the embers like all over, and you don't know where the next one's gonna, flare up.
Right.
I mean, everybody's so on edge.
We hear that the winds are supposed to kick up again today and get even worse tomorrow. So how do you handle this kind of situation?
Okay, so I've lived a lot of different places. I lived there in New York, and I lived in the Midwest, and now I live in Los Angeles. Every place has their thing. Here, it's always high wind and fire advisory.
Yeah.
So the area that I live in it seems to be under constant fire watch, and my house backs up to this like kind of big valley where it's just nothing but brush. So we've had fires back there, and so like whenever you get these high wind things, you're just kind of hoping and praying that something doesn't pop up, because that's where it spreads super fast. The Palisades fire started, and within 15 or 20 minutes was 200 acres. So the wind's just. That wind makes, by the way, everything worse.
It really does.
The wind is the worst meteorological element, I think, on planet Earth. When it rains, fine. Rain with wind, worse. Cold, bad. Cold with wind, worse. Even warm weather.
It's
warm
like a
weather,
hairdryer.
fine. Hot, fine. Hot with wind, worse. So wind never makes anything better.
Well, our friends who may not be familiar with Pacific Palisades, which has pretty much been totally destroyed.
Yeah.
You've actually seen Pacific Palisades all of your life, because in tons of television shows and movies, when they want to film a scene that looks like it's from a nice suburban community that could be anywhere.
Sure.
Those camera crews go to Pacific Palisades. I mean, that has been a go-to place for television shows and movies.
Let's get a lot of B-roll from like 2.5 Men. They always show the row of houses like right on the coastline of Malibu. And now you see those houses, one of which was, I guess, one of Paris Hilton's houses. Like they're just leveled.
But can I say something? Because I know national news has been focusing on that area, but in Los Angeles, there is multiple fires, and it's not just areas that of people that have a lot of money.
Yeah, like the Eaton Fire, which is out by Pasadena, is like I would say it's right up there with the Palisades Fire, other than the home values.
Right, but the acreage is basically the same.
The acreage is basically the
The
same.
loss is the same.
Yeah. I mean, but even like the Palisades Fire or the Eaton Fire, I forget how many exactly square feet they've said that.
About 20,000.
Okay, so, and you guys will find this interesting. So the entire island of Manhattan is smaller than the area that was totally devastated by the fires just in the Palisades.
Yeah,
Shelley mentioned that a little bit earlier.
Which I found to be like, that's incredible.
Like 3 times the size of Manhattan?
Right.
Yeah,
the
it's
total
incredible.
devastated area, 3 times the size of Manhattan, to give you an idea. I mean, it's just horrendous. A very strange phenomenon I heard from my son who lives in Encino, and his in-laws are staying with him because they're from Brentwood and they had to evacuate twice. He said they're trying to stay as normal as possible, and even trying to make dinner reservations, and you can't even get dinner reservations because everyone's trying to be, trying to be a little bit normal.
Yeah, I thought about it this weekend. My wife and I were gonna try to go to our favorite sushi place. Then we just kind of scrapped it. We're like, I don't even know if they're open.
Yeah, stay off the roads.
Just kind of, everybody's kind of wanted. It was a very just an exhaustive week because I think everybody is so heightened.
Yes.
And you feel even more wiped out, even though you might not have done much of anything but stare at the news and just get depressed.
Which is true. And Shelley mentioned the winds. And when there's a lull in the winds, things look kind of normal, speaking of normal. But then those winds kick back up. And it's back to square zero.
Well, and speaking of normal, the air is, the sky is blue, and you're like, oh, it's okay. And then they remind you, don't breathe the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the city has really come together and just set up all these different destinations to help people and gather supplies.
Oh, there's
for
definitely a lot of
everybody.
help out there for
Yeah,
everybody.
but if you try to be normal and go to Target, you'll see families try and buy clothes for themselves, buying suitcases because they don't know where to go.
Well, iHeart Los Angeles is partnering with the Dream Center, and our friends here in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and eastern Pennsylvania can also participate and help. Now, what can you tell us about the Dream Center and what it is that they provide?
The Dream Center is huge. They've been going at this for over 30 years. I just was on TV last week with one of the representatives, and I got to hear more about them. I'd gotten a pretty in-depth briefing, when we were launching all this fundraising stuff. But the Dream Center is this huge facility, and they help anybody who needs it 24/7. Anybody who wants to come by, who needs a place to go, they take those people in. Even if they can't house them right there on site, they have other facilities they can bring them to. But they provide everything from clothing to things that other people need who are evacuated or displaced, but also helping out the first responders with other kind of bottled water, sports drinks, things like that. That they need. So it's been really cool. A lot of our stations, we've all been down there and been helping with the intake. The intake is crazy, but also the outflow is pretty dramatic.
Well, speaking of first responders, I've noticed that firefighters from all over the planet have been arriving to help. Of course, we are aware of the Mexican firefighters and the Canadian firefighters, but I just saw this morning a group of firefighters that have traveled all the way from South Africa to lend a hand.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's coming from everywhere. Everybody wants to help. You see the things on TV, and whether you're local or somewhere across the country, I think that's everybody's. I mean, going back to 9/11, you said about being on the air in LA as all these things are going on. I was on the air in New York at Kerr at the time when 9/11 happened, and that was I think the most significant thing that I've experienced as a broadcaster. People calling in and asking about different people, and can you announce this name? And I mean, this is dramatic in its own very different way. But it just seems like everybody who hears about it wants to do something, and they go, man, you feel helpless otherwise. And you can really get very easily sucked into, your not to get all mental health on everybody, but you're watching this. My wife has been addicted and just glued to the television. She's like, I got to watch something else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to get a break.
Yeah, so take that opportunity to do something. Whether it's make a donation or get out there and bring stuff down to here in LA, the Dream Center, or if you're on the other side of the country like you guys are, there's plenty of places that even if it's not the Dream Center that you feel good about donating to, doing something for somebody.
Well, I know that our company suggests not only the Dream Center but also the California Fire Foundation.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And the Los Angeles Regional Food Bank. So do you have an address, a web address where people can go so that they can get, some information about how to donate?
Well, I mean, the Dream Center, I mean, any of the iHeart stations, including Q1043, have a link on the website. iHeartRadio.com has a link for the Dream Center. But all these other ones, they very, very easy to find. Everybody's got a setup. So, again, if there's animals that you're more interested in helping, there's a bunch of animals that had to be evacuated, horses, I mean, all kinds of wildlife, not just cats and dogs. if you want to help them out, there's tons of places that you can do. Menace knows somebody that they provide. It sounds crazy. You don't even think about it, but like eyewear.
Yeah, Power of Sight.
Power of Sight. You know, they show up on site and like make people like a new set of glasses or a new set of contacts, like right there, free.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, just
Well, because
on
so many
site.
people had to leave everything
Sure.
behind.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
right, well-
the word right now is they have enough stuff, send money.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for everything that you and your colleagues at iHeartRadio Los Angeles are doing. I know our friends at KISS are on the job, and our friends at KFI.
Well, KFI I think has been working the hardest out of everybody for sure.
KFI
It's
is
our news talk station.
AM.
They're just around the clock.
And there's KOST and KBIG and a few more. And I know that everybody's been pitching in as best they can. And we thank all of you for joining us at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
your
Of
time
course, we're always here
to let us know what's
live
going
here.
on.
Stay safe out there, guys. Yeah.
It's Woody and the cast of The Woody Show on Q104.3. Be safe.
New York's classic rock, Q1043.